Good morning. It is Thursday, October 14th, and today I thought we could talk a little bit about YouTube struggles, because there's no shortage of that going around. Everyone has a rough time with the platform. Sometimes that's because of problems inherent to the platform or challenges that come with being a YouTuber, period, when it comes to like all the features that are on offer or the way the platform can tend to shift rapidly in terms of the features that it has, bug fixes, new things that YouTube decides that they're going to try on any given week. But then a lot of it comes from, just the struggle that you have as a creator to constantly come up with new stuff or, just managing the workload and things like that. So today, since we didn't get to do the community discussion yesterday, I thought we could go ahead and do it today. Tomorrow we'll just go ahead and still do fun stuff, but today I just thought we could talk about some of the personal struggles that we have with the platform, whether those frustrations are rooted in the platform itself, or just the difficulties that we have as creators trying to, again, make content on a regular basis. Neo, what's up, man? How you doing this morning? Also, congratulations again on your first edited video. I will be looking forward to watching. I think you said you were going to launch that today, right? So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to go over today, and actually the idea came from this game right here, and that's why I use as the thumbnail, Dead by Daylight. One of the mechanics in Dead by Daylight, if you're not familiar, which, again, Dead by Daylight is an asymmetrical multiplayer kill or be killed sort of game where one person plays the killer, 4 people play as the survivors, and it's not like the killer just kills people right off the bat. Rather, they down people first, and then they have to carry them over to a meat hook. The whole thing's very macabre. But during that process, where you're the killer or you're the survivor being carried by the killer to be, brought to your demise, which is quite grisly, again, is that they can struggle against the movement of the killer, right? You can basically wiggle the left stick over and over to try to break free of their grasp and run away. And it's a really fun mechanic because in a lot of ways it's totally futile, but if you've got a killer who doesn't know exactly how to get to the place where they need to take you, they can, totally lose their grip on you, and you can, get away and escape. And for some reason, in the middle of, going through that struggle, I was like, I could probably make a piece of content out of this. I thought I could draw some parallels between it's a loose fit, I'll admit, but between Dead by Daylight and the struggles that people have as creators. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. Got the edited video out. Awesome. I will be checking it out. Mikkel, good morning, man. How you doing? Hello, talk about our struggles. Yes, Sushi, I think we should. Ajbaj, how are you this morning? Thank you for stopping by the stream. Is this your first time here? I don't think I've seen you in the chat before. Lily, good morning. How are you? And congrats on getting that paper done. Hi everyone, how are you beautiful people doing? I'm doing quite well, man. I'm slightly caffeinated and ready to talk about some of the things that I personally struggle with on the platform, and hoping other people want to chime in with some of their struggles as well. And I'll tell you one of mine right off the bat, perhaps illustrated by that really loose fit I just made between the struggle mechanic of Dead by Daylight and the topic of today's video, is that coming up with new ideas is super hard. And I've even done videos on how to come up with new ideas, right? Things like, brainstorming or looking for inspiration, just the regular stuff that you do day to day, and documenting that to make videos. But ultimately, even for streams like this in the morning, one of the fears that I have is that I just end up repeating myself, which I'm not that irritated by it, because on the one hand, it's a good thing, right? It means I'm not just making stuff up or trying to lie to you or just coming up with random crap to make a video. But at the same time, it is a struggle to constantly come up with new ideas, and then I put myself on a way more aggressive schedule with this live streaming thing, right? It's not like, okay, I do 1 or 2 videos about tips or strategy a week. Now I'm doing it, aside from the fun stuff I do on Friday, 4 times a week in the mornings, and in the live format, no less. So that's one of the things that I personally have trouble with on YouTube, is just coming up with new ideas. Now, I've got a lot more ideas within the realm of video games, but that kind of brings me to another struggle that I'm dealing with, is figuring out where the divide is for my own content strategy. YourPlayerTwo, the whole brand, the whole reason I kind of crafted it in that way with Jason's help, was predominantly because I knew that, yes, I did love video games, but I also really loved gamers and people that were trying to take their love of games or their passion for the medium and then turn it into a creative pursuit themselves, whether that's, in video or blogging or podcasting or whatever. I tend to predominantly target people who work on YouTube because I love video and that's the format that I'm most comfortable with. But, I'm sure a lot of you have noticed, a lot of the content that I put out here is applicable to a whole different range of creative pursuits. And I know some people, I know that Maro, for example, is doing blogging right now. But that is something that I struggle with, is how do I find that divide? Because one of the things that I worry about is, if I don't put enough video game content out there, do I look exploitative? Does it appear that the only reason that I'm saying, oh, I love games, I love gamers, is because I think that there's money or success to be had from targeting those people, or do I legitimately enjoy it myself? Now, realistically, I don't think most people who would look at my Instagram or the content I put out here would really believe oh, he doesn't really like video games. Trust me, I love them. But, and I think it kind of feeds back into my own anxiety issues of imposter syndrome and whatnot. There's always that voice in the back of my head that's if you don't put out enough game stuff, people aren't going to think you're a gamer, which really that's just my own insecurity manifesting, I guess I should say. Good day, mate. How are you doing? I'm doing quite well, Mayor. How are you doing this morning, man? No, I've seen a few videos, just don't talk. Right on. Well, feel free to lurk away, no pressure at all. Even though this is a community discussion, I encourage people to, talk and, kind of get into whatever the topic is at hand, which today is struggles on YouTube. Don't feel compelled, man. If you dig it and you just want to lurk around, like, that's totally fine. No pressure. Neil says, I hope I did a good job. Oh, Lord, now I'm nervous. No, don't be nervous, man. If you had fun doing it, you did a good job. That's a win, right? My morning's been kind of rough. I'm sorry to hear that, Lily. I hope it gets better. Because it's something I definitely plan to cover one day is dealing with companies and brands that try to put down your work or try to tell you what to do or devalue your work. I think that is a tremendous topic. I was going to do something similar to that. But yeah, I would love to hear your perspective on it because I know that you spend a whole lot of time networking with other companies. So I would imagine you have a lot of value to contribute to that conversation. Reg, good morning. What's up, man? I was watching Big Mouth on Netflix. What is that about? That's not horror, is it? I don't know why it's flagging your stuff for review. I think it's because you have long messages, Mikkel. Had Victory send me to E3 this year and had them tell me yesterday that because I stream and have everything on one channel, I'm hurting my channel and because my views are lower, that people don't enjoy my content and I need to remove streaming from my channel altogether and stream on Twitch only. They said they have no value at where I'm at with my views, yet Capcom says otherwise. Yeah, and again, like a lot of that I think is rooted in subjective opinion too, right? Like they may say something objectively about your channel. This would be the same way as like when I brought up people's channels the other day and was trying to give feedback. I will have my opinion, but I'm also not as close to it as you are, right? Now, granted, I think there are things that you can miss because you're too close to something, and sometimes you need that outside perspective, but you're going to have insights, and you're going to know your audience better than, some other entity is, especially a company that has a vested interest in steering your content direction and what you do into a direction that benefits them. So I would take that with a huge grain of salt. Not so much that I wouldn't listen if it did seem like they were onto something, but, again, ultimately that's something that you have to determine on your own, right? Because you're going to know that content better than they do, Mikkel. There is a little bit of music in the background. Yes, it is the Zeldin show, which I still have not updated, and I need to put Avedon's music on here. He already gave me permission to do so, and yet I have not done it. Which, honestly, I'll say that's another struggle that I have, or something that gives me issues, I guess, on the channel, is a lack of focus. Now, to some degree, I think I've managed to focus the content direction, right? If you're showing up here, you're either going to get video games or some sort of a YouTube discussion, because that's pretty much what I'm all about. But at the same time, the same way I was very naive when it came to, I'm just going to do a gaming channel and not realizing, oh my god, there's about 75 different subgenres of gaming channels that you could dive into if that's your pursuit. The same is true of trying to put out helpful content too, right? I have people who either direct message me or they have questions about strategy. I have people who hit me up and they just have questions about hardware they should buy for cameras and stuff like that. I have people who ask me about editing techniques. I have people who ask me about live streaming. And any one of those subjects, you could make 1,000 videos on. So that puts me in a very weird position where I'm like, well, what's the best thing for me to go for? Like, should I focus on any one of those things? Because I technically do a little bit of all of them, yes, but I would not say that I've developed a massive swath of content that would lead you to believe I have some expertise in it either. But I think that's one of the benefits that I'm going to put down for this morning live stream is I've gotten so much regular conversation feedback that I've started to get a sense of where people are at in terms of their content creation pursuits. So that feedback has been really helpful. And one of the things that people seem to be most responsive to are videos that are encouraging, or what's the other word that I'm looking for? Motivating, I guess. Encouraging or motivating, like encouraging in the regard that, like, if you're having trouble and you're thinking, oh man, it's all doom and gloom and there's no way I can recover from this, whether it's struggles that you have with editing a video, or not figuring out how to get enough traction, or what other people are going to think, or straight up motivation where somebody's in a place of complete stagnation where they're just not making content, usually because they're afraid or because they have some other issue that they feel is preventing them. Usually that's like a false belief, like it's not good enough by some arbitrary standard that really doesn't exist. But because people have been so responsive to them, like, this is something that I know is going to continue after this. For those that aren't familiar, I'm in the middle of a 90-day live streaming kick that will end on Halloween, right? I've only done live content on the channel for about the past almost 90 days at this point. If you saw something here, it was live first every single time. And I was curious about how that was going to impact things at a macro level, right? What that was going to do to the analytics. Were people going to start unsubscribing? Were people going to watch longer? Were people going to peace out faster? And I have some of that data collected, but really the bigger thing that I've taken away from it is just that feeling of knowing the things that you can't really itemize on a spreadsheet, right? I've gotten to know a lot of you a lot more personally. I've started to figure out, like, who are the regular people who enjoy the content and the type of content that they tend to enjoy. So in that regard, it's definitely been a learning experience, and this is a component that will remain. But I still, to tie this all back together, I kind of went on a rant there, I still have that larger problem in my head, which maybe I'm overthinking, and I think the next experiment will be a way to combat that, perhaps, But, I'm still trying to figure out where that breakdown is. Do tips and strategy need to be in the live format every day like I've been doing? Does this need to be a different type of live stream? Should we only talk about like gaming news, for example, or video game based topics that are trending, and then use the pre-produced content that I'll resume on November 1st? Should just be, the tips videos or the more strategic stuff where I can do more like visual aids and things like that. And I don't know the answer to that, so that's a huge struggle for me right now. Let me catch up with the chat here real quick. That people don't enjoy my content, I need to remove... Oh, wait, no, sorry. I know, but I've decided if this goes well, editing will be a constant on the channel. Right, and I think it's a good thing to regularly do tests. Like, this was something where you got outside of your comfort zone, Neo, and you tried something new, and I think that's awesome, man. Like, even if people aren't receptive to it, or you're like, I don't really like editing video that much, at least you tried something new. I did this personally yesterday when I tried to pan-sear chicken. It went horribly wrong, but I'm glad that I tried. Not exactly YouTube related, but it does go to show that, yes, I am indeed a terrible chef who could burn water. Parents were fighting? I'm sorry to hear that, Lily. That sucks. So massive change may be coming to my channel. I'm fired up again. That's a good thing, man. If you're fired up, that's a good sign. If you have to like drag yourself into YouTube work and you don't love it, not a great sign. Because what's funny is streaming and keeping everything on my channel has actually dramatically improved my channel. I don't know. I don't ever want to work with PDP again as they constantly put me down. Yeah, and that's the thing, man. I mean, like, that's why I did that video about, like, when to say no to certain things, and to me, it almost sounds like that's a textbook sort of one-sided opportunity where not only are they benefiting from the audience that you've built up over on your channel, but on top of that, they're trying to sort of steer the direction of your content, which as a creator, that could be incredibly frustrating, and that's, to me, the very definition of one-sided, right? Not only are they looking to capitalize on what you do ostensibly for free, because I'm assuming they're not chucking money at you to do this deal, Mikkel, but then on top of that, they are wanting you to alter the entire way in which you present your content. At that point, you have a decision to make. Now, if there's money at play for some people, they may take that deal. But if it's not, and the value proposition on your side is very minimal, there's no way I would adjust the direction of my content just because some company tells me, like, you know what, you should do this, and then you'd be more valuable to us. Bye. I'm sorry, but like there are a lot of other companies out there, like you mentioned, Mikkel, with Capcom, that see plenty of value in the way that you're doing things the way you're doing them now. So I would be, I hate to use an IT example, but I'm going to. Sometimes especially when it comes to like enterprise problems with technology, someone will want to put a piece of software in place, or they'll want to fix one problem to appease a single user or a single group of users, not realizing that doing so will cause problems for literally the entirety of the rest of the workforce or the other people that have to use that environment. And in the same way with YouTube, you can make a decision to modify your content to satisfy one person, whether it's a business, whether it's a collaborator, or somebody who wants you to change things up. But if you do, it may be at the expense of your existing audience who loves exactly what you're doing right now, or all the other companies who may love the format that you've chosen to pursue currently. So yeah, I'm not saying that you never listen to the feedback. I'm not even saying you never act on the feedback, but I would definitely take a very critical eye when it comes to anybody who's telling me what I should do with my channel. It looks like since I've been updating my tags on older videos with YouTube TubeBuddy suggestions, they now are doing better. I don't doubt it. TubeBuddy's a great product. I use it myself, Red. Before, they were only doing good because of YouTube promoting it without any good tags. And yeah, I've been there too. Yeah, and that's something else I don't get, is like when people are like, oh, the algorithm screwed me, like that's why I can't get any traction. A lot of the time, the algorithm has helped me randomly out of nowhere. That Beat Saber video had like 200 or 300 views on it not 3-4 months ago, was not a massive performer, and then out of nowhere one day Beat Saber became a hotter topic, I think because they released some new song packs or something. So YouTube, I think, valued those tags more, saw that I had them, and now that video I think is over 50,000 views or close to it. I can't remember, but I got a massive bump out of nowhere. So for everyone that says, oh, the algorithm screwed me, it's not outside their own possibility that the algorithm's going to help you too, provided that you have tagged and titled things properly. To your point, Red. Nia says, I really feel like the rest of this year and next year is mine. I agree with Red. That's a good attitude to have, man. A lot of people, I think, have an attitude of, like, what's going to happen to me instead of what am I going to make happen this year. I think Bill Gates had a great quote. He said, most people will overestimate what they can get done in a year and underestimate what they can get done in 10 years. That's why I'm a big fan of the marathon mentality when it comes to YouTube. Because I think a lot of people, it's not that they're not capable, it's not that they're lazy, it's just that they're not patient enough. Dad says, hi Bub, greetings to the assembled multitude. Hello, Dad. I think you should keep the daily streams. It is something I catch daily, and honestly, it's refreshing, man. The only way I might scale it back is I might only do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but even that, it's like, dude, I love doing this. So, like, aside from when work gets in the way, or if, like, There's something else, like when I had to get my AC fixed, that blatantly gets in the way of me being able to do it at the established time. I like doing it. Like, I love getting on here in the morning because it gives me a big charge, too, to talk to other people who are creative. They're excited about the platform. They're doing cool things within the arena of gaming. Josh, gaming with you, even it was only for a short amount of time. It was a pleasure. Thank you, buddy. Dude, every Wednesday. As long as you have the same game that gets voted for by the masses, like, we can play anytime. Then, you and I could just play together, sometime whenever the time zones sync up and everything. Probably on a weekend would be the best time for me. Lola, hello. I'm very sleepy. Came in to say hi. Thank you for stopping in to say hi. You should get some sleep, Lola. Because for you, what time is it right now? It's about 10 o'clock where you're at. Is that right? Mayor says, I think... What? Let me back up here a little bit. Sawyer says, driving now, but this makes a good podcast to listen to. Thank you for dropping in, man. Yes, please don't text and drive. Be safe. I don't mind you lurking away, but, I don't want you to get involved like a 3-car pileup or something. That would be terrible. Red says, I have a company that keeps asking me to cover a game that is nowhere near what my audience likes. They said they will pay me, but I don't care. And that's probably a good idea. Like, for me... If a company approached me and they're like, hey, we'll pay you to do a game, I don't really have a good sense of, I know some of the games people like I know Neo likes Dead by Daylight, for example. I know that Mikkel is prone to JRPGs. I know that Mayor definitely has some background when it comes to Remedy games, like Alan Wake. But ultimately, I don't really have a place where I would be like, oh, my audience will like that game. So if somebody, here's the thing, I haven't really gotten a sponsorship deal in a long time. Like, the closest I got was when I did the arcade machine videos forever ago, before this was even YourPlayerTwo. So if a new one pops up and someone offers me cash money, I will take it, probably regardless. Unless it's something blatantly like that's not going to benefit anyone, then I wouldn't do it. But if it's even lightly video game related and someone offers me a sponsorship, I'll probably take it, but not so much because the money is what I would be after. That would be nice, sure, but for me, I would rather document the entire experience of getting that sponsorship deal and making a piece of helpful content out of it. That would be my goal with something like that. But to your point, if you know your audience has expectations for a certain type of game, and then you've got somebody who's offering you money to betray those expectations to benefit them, I would not do that. I would be exactly where you are, Red. The only way for me to cover fighting game pro players and fighting games and their products, and only gave me a headset and expected me to spend money on their products and push them, I'm like, nope. Yeah. Can't blame you, man. Love the IT point you made. Makes me miss IT. And that's the thing. It's so weird. Like, I always thought growing up, because I had a natural inclination toward computers because of my wonderful parents who were just complete nerds. Dad, thank you very much. But I always thought, like, that was the thing I was supposed to do, right? And I love this quote. There's an amazing show. If you're at all IT, if you are at all inclined to IT stuff, if you work in IT, you have to watch the show Halt and Catch Fire if you've never seen it before. Amazing show. Lee Pace is in it, and he plays a sort of Jobsian-like character. But he has this great quote, and it's so true. Like, to me, it hit me so hard personally. But he was like, computers aren't the thing. Computers are the thing that gets us to the thing. And that is super true for me. Like, I've always thought that, like, IT work and stuff, that was, where my passion was, because I was naturally good at it, and it made sense, and it's kind of a, a field that's going to continue to be, like, a good thing to pursue from a career standpoint, probably forever, because technology just keeps evolving, right? But, ultimately, what I love is the people. I like connecting with people, and I found that the best part of my job is not necessarily when I fix a computer problem or I spec out some IT project. The thing that I love about my job is when I talk to a very stoic, sort of, like, musty, just very, very gruff sort of business person, and I make them laugh over the phone because I have pretty much zero reservation about saying something completely ridiculous and out of left field, even though I'm an IT professional. And that's because I think people forget, man. Like, companies and all this stuff, even like brand deals, which I can tie this into YouTube, I think. A lot of people are afraid to talk to, like, developers or publishers or people that work in the industry that they work in because they feel like they're not good enough or they're not big enough to communicate with these people. But they forget they are just people, right? Company is just a fancy name. Business is just a fancy name for a bunch of people who are trying to figure out how to make money. And if you can, tap into that human element, have a genuine connection with somebody, you are going to have a much better go at whatever you're pursuing than if you just try to be like, okay, how do I play perfectly by the rules? How do I perfectly craft a business email? How do I make sure I present myself in the most professional way? You can be professional without having to be completely stiff. And I think that's something a lot of people miss. And one of my favorite quotes of all time is from Dustin Hoffman, who said, you never have to grow up, but it's okay to be an adult. So you can be an adult, you can be professional, you can interact with people in a way that shows them that you know what you're talking about, that you're knowledgeable, that you can speak their language from a business perspective, but you don't have to be so rigid that you can't just be a human being. Like, if someone asks me how's my day going, whenever I'm, like, on a work call or something, are they like, you doing anything, you know, like, you know, if they're just making small talk, like, what are you doing this weekend? I have zero reservation about being like, oh yeah, I'm gonna play horror games all weekend, then I'm gonna go to a haunted house, and it's gonna be awesome. Not a response people would typically get, but people seem to respond to, and I think that's one of my core strengths, really. Mayor says, I think the best approach I found is not caring about subs and stats. I used to check them daily. Now I see how a video has done only after I upload another video, just something that helps me. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I'll check the stats usually about once a week, or I'll check the real time occasionally, but I don't stay glued to them because I don't live and die by how many numbers I have. I live and die by how much helpful content I can put out and the connections that I establish with other people. Now, that goes into another struggle, another fear that I have, actually, for the purposes of this video. I don't know how it scales, and I don't know if it scales. The closest example that I have, and somebody who I watch all the time, is Gary Vaynerchuk. He seems to be doing it well, but then again, that dude's got a whole team of people behind him to help him do things like create content. Now, I will say, to his credit, he says that every time he replies to a comment, whether it's on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, his text messaging platform that he now has out, that it's always him replying, but yeah, I mean, these are questions. That's not so much of a current struggle, so much as like a just in my head, like, fear about the future as the channel grows. I'm not sure what's going to happen there, and it's also sort of presumptuous, right? I don't know. This channel may not grow. It might be that people just, you know, don't respond to it well over time, and it doesn't go anywhere, and that's fine because, again, I love the process. But it is something that I think about because this is tremendous. Like, I love talking to people in the mornings. I think it's a really good time. I get to hear perspectives that I would not have otherwise, and yet, if there were 200 people in here, how much can I really do that? At that point, do I just have to, like, you know, cherry pick the people that are saying the most interesting things and then people feel left out? So, I don't know. We'll have to see. Oddwatch says the Beat Saber video was the first one I saw. Right, and thank you so much for being here because of that video, and also for interacting. I know you're more of a lurker, Oddwatch, but, you know, when it comes to evergreen content, you know, that's something that initially, you know, you might think doesn't pay off because, you know, an evergreen video isn't going to get massive burst traffic the way a trending video does, right? Like, for instance, like right now, the analog pocket is going to be a new thing, and if I wanted to jump on that train, I could put out a video like, ooh, here's the BitBoy, but here's an even better BitBoy. Let's all check out the analog pocket, and I could do this big video, talk about all the information they've released, and it would probably get a bigger spike of traffic than most stuff, because right now it's trending, right? It's a little bit more searchable, but at the same time, if I do an evergreen video where I'm like, Ring Fit Adventure would be a bad idea, because that's going to drop in like tomorrow, I think. But if I did a video where I was like, I can't even think of an evergreen video, like, the best platforms for streaming. Let's just say something that sounds sort of random and generic or something like that, but then that video has value to people for years to come, right? And if you have a video like that, like kind of like what I did with the Beat Saber, because Beat Saber benefits, those are going to be true today, as true today as they will be 100 years from now, assuming Beat Saber's still here 100 years from now. That's a big if. But you know what I mean? Like, that kind of content can tend to bring in new people to your channel for a long period of time, even though initially it's kind of a struggle because you're like, I'm not getting as many views as a lot of people who are doing trending content. Just wait. The algorithm eventually can work in your favor. I've seen it happen more than a few times on this channel. Red says, YouTube literally took my Persona 5 video out of the search because it got a copyright strike and I got that video back, but afterwards it took out... Yeah, copyright's definitely a big struggle for a lot of people. Joseph says, Caitlin... I don't think Caitlin is here. Retrohead, good morning, man. I totally missed you. Scaredy Mag, good morning, dude. Thanks for coming out. Let me back up a little bit. Sorry if I seem distracted. Lily, no worries at all. I know you got other stuff that you're dealing with right now. Red says, had 59,000 views before it was taken off. It is unranked in the search, even with good tags. You should do a video game news similar to this. I think it would boost your channel. I've thought about doing video game news, but that's the thing. Like, what scares me about doing video game news is I don't know if I want to get married to video game news. I see a lot of people who do news in a variety of different industries on YouTube, and my fear there is if I start being like a video game news guy, first off, there's a lot of people out there doing news, which I guess that really shouldn't dissuade me. That kind of goes against my personal beliefs anyways. But then, you know, if that's the thing that people come back for, if that's the only thing that they care about, then I have to keep doing news in perpetuity, basically forever. And, you know, I love the live streaming format. I love talking with people, but I'm not sure if I could, I don't even know if I could do it competently. I mean, because that takes a fair amount of work and research too, but it's something I'll take into consideration. Like, maybe we could use and one of the things I'm going to do at the end of this experiment, which actually that brings up a good point, Red, is I am going to put out like a poll on the community tab here to kind of get a sense of what people want from the live streams if they're going to continue in this format. And by format, I mean 8 a.m. Josh is talking to a camera. Because I'm still kind of struggling with, like, if that continues, what it looks like. So I will take that into consideration for sure. Good morning, my friend. So happy I could join. I'm happy you could join as well, Matt. I know, but I was very late. Didn't get to bed till 4 a.m. I am partially responsible for that. But hey, to be fair, you got to murder me last night in Friday the 13th. Good job. Dude, if you did this Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and if you'd want help, I'd put this on Apple Podcasts and other podcast outlets because this is information people need to hear and is inspiring. I've toyed with the idea of a podcast. Let's talk more about that whenever you and I get together to be over on your show. Speaking of which, Mikhail has offered to have me over on his show. You should go check him out. He frequently will interview people who do like video game voice acting and things like that. Offered to let me come over. I got to hang out with him at E3. If you look at my E3 recap vid, you'll see him hanging around in there a little bit. But yeah, because you know that world better than I do, Mikhail, so I would have to defer to your expertise in it. When are you doing the full Luigi Day? That's going to be October 31st, the day it comes out. I'm off that day. I'm going to be streaming. I'll probably get started streaming like 8 in the morning and see how long I can go before I just pass out or need food. Top Spot, what's up, man? One of my YouTube goals is to simply make connections and find peers. I'm not compelled to create, so I struggle with the amount of time and work that goes in when a video underperforms. Seems like time poorly spent. Well, but that's the thing, though. Like, when you say you're not compelled, do you actually enjoy... I mean... help me get to the core of what you're actually out to accomplish, Top Spot. Like, if you're only out to make connections and find peers, you don't necessarily have to make content to do that. You can just hang out in live streams like you are now, and you can connect with peers and everything. But do you enjoy the process of making videos? Like, do you like it? Like, when you actually have to do the actual work that gets put into it, like, when you have to set up your camera and you have to record yourself or whatever the content is, and then you sit down at an editor and then upload it and then optimize it and do all those steps, do you enjoy it? I'll tell you now, I don't enjoy every single step of the process. To me, tags and titling is, well, titling's a little more fun because I get to flex some creativity there, but like tags and stuff that feels almost robotic, that's not fun for me. The creative parts are fun for me, like framing up a shot, adjusting the lighting, things like that, editing to make sure it all congeals into a complete story. But yeah, I would be curious, because if you enjoy it, it will never be time poorly spent. Where are we at? People in the industry want us to reach out to them here and make a connection. Josh is 100% correct here. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, that's something that I haven't done. I think I have the ability to reach out and make connections with people in the industry. My thing is, I'm not, because I still don't feel like I have a perfect grasp of what this channel is and its audience. Like, I'm closer, but I don't feel like I'm quite there yet. And in truth, I probably need to take my own advice and kind of leap before I look sort of situation. Big fan of that quote where it's like, about learning to fly or whatever, where it's like, you jump off the cliff and you build your wings on the way down. I feel like kind of what I did with this live stream format, but we'll have to see long term how viable that is. But I agree, Mikkel. That's the kind of beauty of YouTube. You can do it your way, like me. I want to do it 5 days a week. That's true. You do have flexibility, and really, it just depends on your level of patience, right? If you're somebody who wants to get to 100,000 subscribers and you're on like a mission for success and you're ravenous about YouTube, then yeah, be prepared to just work your face off and do like 10 videos a week or 15 videos a week or something completely insane. But if you're like, yeah, I want to get there, but I'm comfortable kind of taking my time and enjoying more free time to do things like spend time with my family or watch Netflix or play video games purely for the enjoyment of it, without any bent towards what content it's going to create for me, then yeah, you can still get there, but it's going to take you longer. I mean, and I think it's going to take everyone a little bit of time, right? That's why I think patience is such an undervalued asset if you have it, but at the same time, it depends on like anything. However much work you put in, that will dictate the speed at which you arrive at your destination. Loving the spooky backdrop. So thank you. That's about like $1 worth of like cobwebs, an old Beanie Baby, and then a couple of like, I think tea light candle holders I bought forever ago because I like adorable Halloween decorations, right? The hardcore, gory, spooky stuff. I'm not saying it doesn't work for some people, just not my style. I like my Halloween to be cute and adorable, goosebumpsy, if you will. Lily says, sort of like how I won't let myself look into my book to see if I got the reading check answers right until a few days later because otherwise I'm too hard on myself. That's something I struggle with. Not that specific example, but being too hard on myself. I'm so good at it. I'm an artist at holding myself to an incredibly ridiculous standard that I would never hold another human being to. I think it's helpful, and that it usually helps me get a lot more work done, but I also think it's damaging because I also emotionally struggle to keep myself in check, because it's very easy internally for me to get down on myself, or like, how come you didn't make more videos this week, or how come, the live stream isn't at a better place from a technical production standpoint. And I can fall into that trap too, I guess is what I'm saying, Lily. Unfortunately, I do check my numbers a lot. Why do you check your numbers a lot? For simply, okay, my subs like this, okay, now I can do more for the numbers for an ego, just how many... Wait. It's not for the numbers for an ego, just how many want to see more of this. So you get discouraged by the numbers if you don't have a good understanding of what people are responding to then. For you, it's more strategically driven. You're not just like, oh man, I'm devaluing myself because I'm not at 1,000 subscribers. Is that correct, Neo? Do you think Atlas will be just as strict with Persona 5 Royal? I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, historically they've been pretty strict, and I think that strictness is kind of rooted in something that's altruistic, right? Because it wasn't their primary motivator there, not like they want to discourage people streaming the game or creating with it, but rather they just want the experience to be kind of ruined for potential players. Isn't that kind of where Atlas's headspace was with that move, or am I speaking incorrectly? You already give us video game news, dude. This man is amazing. He's already doing it and doesn't even know it. Not really. I haven't talked about a lot of news, I don't think. I talk about YouTube and just like my personal video game taste, like murdering people and Dead by Daylight, but that's about it. I have a video idea for you if you want. I'm all ears, Lily. That's direct community feedback. I would love to hear your idea. If you feel news doesn't quite line up with your helping people as well, don't feel like you have to do it. I mean, I guess it could help people, but I would have to find a way that it would kind of fit the mold of the channel. Like, how can I do news in a helpful way? Or maybe I'm just overthinking it. Like, maybe, that's part of the balance. Maybe it really is just a pure balance of like, okay, yes, I do helpful content, but then I also do video game content, which does include some video game news. I'm not sure. It's something to think about. But I think it would give me a fun stream of regular topics to discuss here. Like, if this morning show became less like, here's front-loaded tips, and then ongoing, it's just going to be a discussion thing where we just discuss things that are happening in the news, that might work. I mean, you've got me thinking about it now. You're the kind of second person to bring this up. Now it's going to the forefront of my thinking more. Morrow, good morning. Having trouble waking up? I mean, to be fair, for you, it's 5:30 in the morning, you maniac. Where are we at? Dude, you have the best advice on these streams. Absolutely fantastic. Matt, thank you so much for the kind words. I appreciate it, man. And yes, let's talk soon. Sorry, I can't remember if I replied to you on Twitter or not, but if not, yeah, let's get on a chat. I realized looking at the numbers was making me both happy and sad. Now, without caring about stats and just making videos, I'm more excited to make things, and I feel the positivity transfer into the vids. Yeah, and I think that's a huge, huge point for why you should make stuff, or find that balance between, like, stuff that you want to provide value to people, obviously. Like, to Mikkel's point, he doesn't want to put out something that's going to betray his audience, but at the same time, you don't want to do content that you're not excited about, because the more excited you are, the more the enthusiasm comes through on video, and that's a very hard thing to fake, right? I can't sit here and fake how excited I am to cover a chess tournament. I mean, I do like chess, and growing up, I did love the movie, what was it? Oh, Searching for Bobby Fischer. Love that movie with Lawrence Fisher, and check it out if you're a chess nerd. It's a good one. But yeah, I couldn't get on here and talk about chess exclusively and make that work. You would just see my eyes glaze over and how bored I would be, even though I do love the game, actually. Personally, I wouldn't want to see it in this time spot, though. For gaming, well, for your time spot is outside the average, I think, for most of the viewers, Neo, because you're 6 hours ahead, right? Also, not driving anymore. Yes, podcast. I mean, this is kind of podcast the more I think about it. It's interesting because Gary Vaynerchuk just did a video a few days ago talking about how even YouTube, the way we assumed people would watch it, right? Either, at your desk, at a computer, or if you're watching it on your phone on the go, or if it's like a second screen situation where it's like you're watching a TV show, then commercials come on, and then you're glued to your phone instantly because that's more interesting than whatever people are trying to sell you through a TV commercial. Even this is shifting a little bit. And one of the things that I've gotten a lot of feedback on is that people really like this format because it is sort of podcasty, right? You tune into YouTube to watch it, but some of you aren't even watching it. You're listening to it in the car like you are, Saul, you're on your commute right now. And that's something that I'm definitely paying attention to because, I think what drives a lot of the best content marketing decisions or how to get yourself out there in a more significant way is just paying attention to people's behavior. Like, how do they consume content? And then you craft... the way you put out content is not like, no, you come to me and then you deal with it the way that I say. The strategy that I think makes a lot more sense is how do you consume content? How can I be sensitive to that? And how can I make something that makes sense for you? So when it comes to podcasting, thinking about it. Red says, can I do a podcast with you? Potentially. We can have a conversation about it. I'd have to get to know you a little bit better. I mean, not that I don't think you're delightful and I appreciate your ongoing support, but yeah, let's talk, man. Let's get on a voice chat sometime soon and see if we can find some common ground where it would make sense for your audience and for mine. Whether that's on my channel or your channel, we can figure it out. Tech, good morning. How are you? Mara, how you doing? Hey, Mikkel. Good morning on my side. Why am I awake? It's 5:30. Nia says, I feel more confident. I feel more able, and also I feel like I can spread my wings a little, which honestly is massively helpful because of the help you have given me and others. Well, I do my best, man. I try to put helpful stuff out there. I'm glad you made it too, Mara. Red says, I think you're doing a daily live stream on gaming news. It's different than other people's news. You mean like you think my delivery would be different? How do you mean, Red? Maro, hi Neo, hi Lily. Maro, it's 2:30 a.m. here. Maro, I did the edit challenge. I'm nervous. Good job, Neo. If it scared you, it was probably the right thing to do. As long as it wasn't like something life-threatening. Sushi, were you here earlier and I missed it? If so, good morning. Sorry about that. Oh boy. How do you do this? Is there a blacklist on YouTube? I'm not sure if there's an official blacklist that's orchestrated by the algorithm, but I mean, I know there are things you can do to definitely de-rank yourself. I don't know if they outright block people from being searched, but like if you make good content and it's going to appeal to viewers and get them advertising dollars, I don't think they care, as long as you're not spreading hate speech or doing something that demonstrably hurts the YouTube brand. Didn't sleep yet, Mikhail. I'm going back to sleep after a struggle. Yes, Oak City. What are some of your struggles with YouTube? I would be curious to hear. Neil, I'll see when I'm fully awake. Where am I at? I'm doing good, Tech. You know, no bang this morning. I went for the beach breeze Red Bull. I imagine that's going to go away soon because we are into fall now. Lily says, maybe create a video on confidence in front of the camera. I've mentioned that I want to start creating, my parents aren't letting me, but the thing is I get super nervous in front of a camera. Lily, I've got good news for you. I already made that video, and I think I can find it and link it in the chat right now. Maybe. Unless some mod here can find it quicker than I can. Hold on. I'm checking. But I'll see if I can get it linked up for you. I definitely need to chat soon. Enjoy it so much. Absolutely, man. Plus, I mean, it just seems appropriate, right? Scaredy mad doing horror content. I'm in the middle of October. I'd be crazy not to talk to you. Mikhail says, Josh, this right here is awesome, man. I like that you don't stick with just gaming news, as that's oversaturated market, but you cover gaming, YouTube content creation, and work-life balance. Yeah, and that's because I'm somebody who has to think about that constantly, right? I mean, like, I have a day job. Like, I'm not, I'm not a professional YouTuber. I'm not full-time yet, but so that's something that weighs heavily. I mean, I know a lot of people are in that same position, so any tips or tricks that I find that are helpful for that, for maintaining, like, your emotional well-being and not going crazy is something I'm going to share, because I know it sucks when you feel overbalanced one way or the other. Tex says that it's a tricky thing is trying to keep motivated, even though the numbers for views are so low compared to sub numbers. Well, don't wrap up your value or your validation just in the numbers, right? I think that's something that, again, like, wrap yourself up in enjoyment of the process. Like, when you get done and you publish that video and you're like, I did a good job on that stream, or I did a good job making the points in that video that I, chunked together after 2 days of shooting. If you wrap up your validation in that, I promise you'll have a better go of it, Tech. What I meant was I don't want to take this the streams personally. And that's tough, right? Because you're in a live format, and trolls have the ultimate power here. Like, you're in the most vulnerable state. But yeah, I think that's something you only get better at the more you do it, man. I'm hanging out this morning. It's weird to have a weekday half off. That's awesome, man. I hope you get to game out and enjoy some of that half day off, man. I'm exhausted, so just listening mostly at the moment. Listen away, Morrow. I'm doing well. Hopefully everyone here is doing well too. I'm doing well. Lily says, yes, have calling guests from the community. One of the people I watch does that. I think it would be something you could have fun with. That's a great idea, Lily. I could probably hook that up through Discord. Speaking of which, if anybody here is not in the Discord, I'll go ahead and link that in the chat if you would like to join. I'm not as active there as I should be. I need to be better at it, if I'm being honest, but it is a place where I could theoretically make the call-in show or I guess the call-in portion of the show that Lily's talking about work. So if somebody would like to help me experiment with that some morning, that would be a lot of fun, I think. I'm watching this while working on content. It gives me a push and motivation to get things done. Good, man. Go do it. Get it done. I think the video game news, you should definitely go all in, wear a suit like Papers, yeah, that you shuffle at the end. I've thought about that. I just don't have a lot of suits. I don't particularly like suits. I'm not a very fancy guy, right? I buy my jeans from a car wash. Okay, that's not true, but if you ask anybody who knows me, fashion is not my strong suit. That much is clear. Where am I at? You read my comment. I think a live stream format is different than what most people do. Your delivery is good. I like you better than RGT. His intro was the most annoying thing ever. Did he have a different intro at one point? Because I don't mind his intro, I don't think. I like your delivery, though. Thank you, man. I spend a lot of time being chatty. I think that probably helps. I don't know how he blew up, but he used to be tiny. Well, I think that's... And that's the thing. Like, there's a great book... actually, I'll grab it real quick. Hold on. haven't checked this book out, it's worth checking out. Because this dude does YouTube exclusively in a way that I don't, since my content tends to cater more towards gamers, or I try to make it that way. But YouTube Secrets by Sean Cannell and Benji Travis is the book I have here. I think it's like $10. You can get even cheaper digital or audio version now, I think. But there's a great quote in here, and I'm trying to remember if I could find it real quick. But it's from Bernarcules Nergasm. That dude has like 700,000 subs, but there's a great quote in the book where he talks about basically the value of patience, and he's saying, you know, it took him a number of years to sort of get to 10,000 subscribers, and then it took him like 18 months to go from like 10,000 to like 500,000 or something insane. I can't remember what the exact numbers were, but the point is, there's just like there's this inflection point, right? Or there's this place where I think something just clicks in the algorithm or in the way you create content that resonates with people or gets shared more organically, where you can go from a small creator to a medium-sized creator or a large creator, if we're just going by sub count, right? I don't think that's the pure measure of a creator. I've talked about that at length before, but I do think that there's this snowball effect that happens where you start gaining traction, then one day something just clicks. I wish I could tell you what that something is. I wish I had a more scientific explanation for the click, but alas, I do not, because every creator is different, every community is different, and the content you put out is ultimately also going to be different. So the speed at which it's going to resonate and catch traction is going to be dependent on a ton of different factors I'm sure I'm not intelligent enough to discuss, but still, that's not surprising to me. Yes, I'm calling guests from the community. Oh, wait, sorry. I think I'm past that. Liking the cobwebs in the backdrops. I think it's a good look, right? You know, it's spoopy. A little bit. Okay, here's the struggle. I have a regular life and do YouTube in my spare time, and I go as hardcore as I do with my regular job. Yeah, and depending on what your goals are, a lot of people have to do that, right? And for me, like, a comparable struggle that I have, as somebody who also has a full-time job and then also tries to do YouTube full-time, is sleep is rough, because I am both an early riser and an night owl, so I basically have to take a nap during the day, because if I don't, I'll be completely dead to the world. But, you know, it sucks, because I get very excited to work on stuff and stay up late till like midnight, 1, 2 in the morning, and then I'm like, yeah, let's get up at 5 a.m. and start getting ready for live streaming. That's a horrible position to be in. That's something that I would not recommend to anybody. I don't even like that I do it myself, and it's something that I need to work on, but, you know, that's a recipe for burnout that I've talked about before on this channel. No suits, please. Alright, fair enough, Red. No suits. It's midnight here, so going to head out. Thank you for another great video. Have a good day at night, everyone. Solier, thanks for hanging out. I'm glad that I could improve your commute a little bit, get a wonderful night of sleep, and enjoy that. Maro is the queen of the Discord. She is. Maro keeps the Discord in line. She's very good at it. The real struggle is having the motivation to make something that takes time and effort, made with passion and heart. Yeah, and for me, one of my struggles is my emotions can be very fickle, right? I think everyone's emotions can be. Like, you can't just be super happy joy bomb 24/7 in most cases. But one of the things I've tried to do to try to counter that personally, Matt, is like, I don't want to say that I only create when I feel like it, because I think that motivation follows action, but what I will do is I will pay a lot of attention. If I have free time and I'm feeling really good and I'm in a good place mentally and emotionally, I'll try to make content when I feel like the natural high of just, you know, like being in a good place. Like, if I'm happy, if I'm down in the dumps, that's not a place where I try to prioritize content creation, one, because that just is super intimidating when you're not feeling great. But, you know, if I catch like a natural sort of, you know, good vibe, feeling good sort of day, then I'll be like, I should probably make some stuff, because I'm feeling fantastic right now. But, you know, sticking to a schedule can help. It can sort of help breed that feeling, but I know that's not always ideal for you, especially if you're like me, where you have to be on call some weeks where you could be interrupted at any point. That can be kind of frustrating. And I'm sure that for people in completely other positions that I haven't considered, like, you know, if you have a family, if you have kids that you have to think about, where you can get randomly interrupted at any time, it becomes very hard to find a schedule. So I think it's just like, you have to take that time where you find it, right, and maximize the value of it. So if all you can do throughout a week that is pure chaos for you is slowly write down 10 or 15 video ideas you want to make, and then 2 weeks later you have an amazing break in the chaos where you've got a full day to yourself, or you've got a full half day to yourself, or you have a whole evening to yourself, that's when I would start banging out content in a batch format to try to schedule, if you're feeling good and if that enthusiasm is going to be reflected in the work. If you're feeling horrible, maybe not the best time to put yourself on camera at rapid fire for 10 videos back to back, but yeah, I mean, you either find a schedule and you stick to it, or you grab the time where you can find it. Wait, where am I at? I watched the Discord does his podcast. He does each weekday morning. Oh, the person who does the call-in show, you mean? I'm sure you would, Neo. His intro was, oh, he just had a really long intro initially, RGT. Okay, I gotcha. Do that as a sketch, if nothing else, for a fun news thing. That might be fun. I might do it as a sketch someday and just pretend to be a newscaster and just put a very serious spin on video game news and have no fun with it. RGT left our state. Oh, where did he go to? Because he did move at one point, didn't he? Watch his old videos. I'll see if I can dig into some of his archives and check out some of the old ones and see what you're talking about, Red. I just think it would be funny with Josh in his suit. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And now for the game news. I think I could deliver that. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And now, Dead by Daylight. Sorry, I was gonna say something funnier in my head, but I'm like, maybe not. Maybe not appropriate for this audience. Except that town RGT, where RGT is from, that's not a nice place. Not because it's run down. It's a massive complex of golf courses down there. I understand why he left. Sounds like it might have been not the most fun environment. 1 to 2 minutes or something. Wait, where am I at? I'm almost caught up. 'Tis Spooktober. What I want to know is how you deal with really scary games. Oh, that's easy. I don't play really scary games. I leave that to you, Scaredy Matt. That's your area of expertise. I stay in my lane, right? I play adorable, low-impact games, or I play high-impact games on baby mode so that I can keep chatting and not think about all of the horrors the digital entertainment can toss my way. I've got enough real-life horrific stuff to deal with, okay? Like my inability to cook chicken. Terrifying. But no, honestly, if I play a really scary game and it's too much, I'll put on the Beatles in the background. I put on something super happy, right? Or I'll play the game like staring at this monitor right here, but then on this other monitor over here, I'll put on, like a cartoon. Like I'll watch Big Hero 6 or something, adorable and uplifting and cute, to kind of take the edge off of that terrifying content that gets tossed my way, like PT, for example. Still can't deal with it, even though I'm happy to have it on 2 PlayStations. Red says, I tried Discord but gave up. I must suck at social media. Everything seemed to go downhill after the apocalypse. I used to get more comments now I get 1 or 2 comments a day. The Discord I have is like 2 or 3 people and they hardly show up. Well, and that's the thing, like even in my Discord, if you look, like there are long periods of silence in there, and that's because, it's probably my job to drive that content by talking more and making that a place where I'm more conversational. I just get so caught up, and again, a struggle I have is I tend to get scatterbrained. But that's another reason I'm a big advocate for, like, it's not that you suck at social media, but you might suck at doing like 15 social media platforms at once. I did. That's why I ditched Facebook. I'm almost all in on Twitter, so if you want to, engage with me in any meaningful way, Twitter is the place to do it. You can DM me there. I tend to reply to every tweet that I get tagged in. It might take me a couple of days sometimes, but, I realized that like my personal scale was that I could only handle 1 or 2, and a social media presence really isn't valuable if you can't interact with it on a regular basis, right? And I don't think it means you suck at it. It might just mean that you don't have enough time for it, right? It doesn't mean you're a garbage person or something. It just means that we all have limits for how many things we can care about in any given day, and social media can absolutely tap into that. Texas, I can agree with making videos on a good day. The thing is, last month I was on holiday, I felt great and just felt like videoing stuff. It was fantastic. Right, it is a lot easier to make videos when you're feeling great. Now, if you're somebody who is incredibly disciplined, and you force yourself to make videos even when you're not feeling great, my advice would be, on the days you don't feel great, try to make the stuff where you don't have to be on camera, or do the parts of your workflow that don't involve that. That would be things like editing, or coming up with new ideas, or learning new things by watching YouTube videos, or seeking out blog content, or reading books and things like that. Because if you're in a bad mood, you're gonna bring it to camera, right? There's not a great way to hide that in most cases. I mean, you can try to edit around it, but I'm a big advocate for before if you have the ability, before you go to record a video, get enough sleep the night before, right? Get some food in you, make sure that you have your points laid out, have some extra sets of clothes if you're somebody who likes to batch film, where you're gonna be like swapping costumes, as it were, I guess. But make sure you're in a good headspace, because that translates very, very well to video, and people can pick up on that kind of thing. Where are we at? Are we talking about Florida? Wait, what? Do it once, even if it's just once. We'll see, Neo. We'll see. I'd have to get a pretty snazzy suit to pull off a video game news sketch as a joke. Will I be playing Doraemon? That's a hard maybe, if I order from PlayAsia, because I'm not going to do it with a digital copy. I want a physical copy. He's from Pinehurst. It's on the edge of real NASCAR country. I take it he's not a NASCAR fan, then. Inability to cook. It was really bad. I tried it. It's just rubbery. I just went straight in the garbage. It was rubbery and awful, and I ended up just having an obscenely large salad that was saturated. It was barely a salad. It was just saturated in ranch dressing and bacon. Big Hero 6 is easy to love. Who doesn't love Baymax? Even though Hero's the main character's name. Isn't that the same case, though? Oh, well, no, that's just what I named my character in Dragon Quest XI. Never mind. PT is horrific. I literally finished streaming earlier. Nice, man. What'd you stream, Rob? I'm back. Was talking to my friend's dad. Being a trusted friend. Wait, where am I? Bring a trusted friend on board. Wait, on board for what? Oh, yeah. Tell me about Big Mouth. Big Mouth is about teenagers going through puberty. They all have hormone monsters. Nick Kroll does most of the voice. That sounds completely bonkers. I'll have to look into that one, Red. Editing, I'm looking for a free software thing to use right now. Can't find one without watermarks. Do you do your editing on your phone or do you do it on a PC? I'm assuming PC. If you like crude humor, you might like it. I do tend to like crude humor. Not always reflected here. Here it's more dry wit or highbrow sarcasm. That's like Instagram as well. I can't post a pic without feeling some kind of inspiration. If I try posting, it just feels wrong. Well, that's a very artistic sort of social media platform too, right? I mean, you know, your primary window there to connect with people is through, just creative imagery, and you make amazing things on Instagram. I've seen your Instagram, Morrow. But you're right. If you're not feeling inspired to make something, it can. I think it can be hard to do any sort of artistic kind of work, and Instagram leans heavily into that. Find a snazzy suit at a thrift. I could, right? Find like some 70s really flared out crazy suit. That might be fun. Dead by Daylight tonight? No, that's a hard pass. I got things to do tonight. But potentially this weekend, maybe on Sunday, I'll let you know. Someone said bacon. I'm here. It was all over the salad. It was barely a salad at that point. At that point, it was really more of just a meatball with a light lettuce garnish. I don't even know if you can call that a salad in good conscience. I do like Rick and Morty. Finally finished it for the third time. It's amazing. I will look into it. Here's a question for y'all. Do a badly edit in a suit? Well, like a Tim and Eric kind of badly edited? That could be fun. Never go full Ron Burgundy. You never go full Burgundy. I don't know. I don't think I could. I don't know. I might be able to go full Ron Burgundy. It would be a good suit. You know, the dude had some fashion sense. First Anchorman, not second. The question is, what's a decent free editing software? Well, that's the thing, right? You get what you pay for. Free is not usually great, but I will tell you what's cheap and good. If you're on a Mac, iMovie's amazing. It is free. It's included with every Mac. If you're on a phone, you can also get iMovie. It's like $5, but it is so much better than it was in its initial incarnations. Now you can do cutaway shots. You can do all sorts of tricky stuff on your phone. I thought about, at one point for an experiment, only using my phone to make content for like a number of months just to see what would happen, kind of like the live stream experiment. But while I would love to go on and on about YouTube struggles and some of the challenges that we all face, I have to go get ready for the day job to make sure all that is squared away, and then I will be back streaming potentially tonight. Maybe we'll see how that goes, but I will definitely be over on the Game Looters show tonight. The Lootcast happens at 11 p.m. Eastern night, 8 p.m. Pacific if you're on that side of the country, but I will be going on with them to talk about gaming news in the group format. They are a tremendous group of people over there. Monopole, Cynthia, Dom, they're all tremendous. Rax is usually there. Jakin is usually there. Lots of good people, good discussion, so that's going to be a lot of fun, so keep an eye out for that. And I'm going to go ahead and peace out. Thank you again, as always, for taking the time out of your morning to hang out here. I appreciate you hitting some of your insights, some of your feedback, some of your suggestions, particularly yours, Lily. This call-in thing is an idea that I think I want to play with. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take off now, get ready for the day job. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you on the next one.